Hi there, Jake and Jesse. I'm sorry this is so late. I've had a pretty busy day, which started off at 7 a.m. when I had to be out at my grandparents' farm to make sausage. Brat and breakfast sausage, to be specific. I can't talk today. Jake, 1984. I must say that 1984 is hands down my favorite book of all time, so I'm very excited to hear you talk about it. And and I'm just going to throw this out here, if there'd be a possibility of a book review, I would suggest we do 1984. But I think that's all based on whether or not Jesse has read it. If you have read it, Jesse, and if you are willing to review it. So just kind of keep that in the back of your head. Now, today, among making sausage, I saw Watchmen for the second time this week, and I get the feeling that since you guys didn't know if I had seen Watchmen yet, which I hadn't, when you guys were talking about it, I feel that maybe you guys wanted to say something about the movie, but you didn't want to spoil anything. So if you guys had any comments about Watchmen that you want to make, please make them, and we can get a discussion going on this. And I will say that after watching it twice, I feel that well, first I of course prefer the graphic novel over the movie because of all the intricacies, but I also think that that the movie has the same effect as the book, as in once you have seen it, a lot of the shock and suspense that makes that first go around so memorable is lost, obviously, and so I think that's an interesting correlation. And Jake, congratulations on getting your copy of Watchmen signed by Dave Gibbons. That's I always get little flutteries in my stomach whenever I get one of my books signed. So to have the artist of what is called the greatest graphic novel of all time signing your copy, that's something. So congrats, Jesse. I'm very sorry to hear that you did not get the job at Microsoft, and I'm sure interviewing is never easy, and when you're interviewing for a position with a company as large and as lucrative as Microsoft, I'm sure it gets a little bit more competitive than the normal job interview, especially when they're flying people out just to interview mass amounts of people just to interview. That's something else. So it is disappointing, but I know you will land on your feet, and as far as a summer job, I guess that all depends on if you want to stay in Cleveland, if you're going to be coming back to Minnesota for the summer, and either way, I have no idea what you would do, because I'm not connected to the computer programming world, so I don't know what jobs are out there. But moving on, I did not suggest a movie, but I do have one now, and my suggestion is the Coen Brothers' Fargo. Now, the reason why I picked this is because obviously Fargo takes place in Minnesota, and I thought, since we have two Minnesotans on the Collab channel, we have a unique opportunity to review this movie. Not to say that Jake, you don't have a role in this, which I will get to in a second. I myself, being from a rural part of Minnesota and going to college in what one would call a rural part of Minnesota, I am more likely to hear people talk with the heavy Minnesotan accent. Jesse, having grown, well, I don't know if you grew up there, but having lived in the Twin Cities, you live where at least part of this movie takes place. And Jake, as a complete outsider, what were your views on Fargo, on Minnesotans, if you had seen Fargo? What was your view of Minnesotans because of this portrayal? So I think we have a very interesting opportunity here that we should take advantage of. But I leave that to you guys. And the books that I'm reading, I'm not doing a pleasure reading right now. It's all for classes, but currently I'm reading Daniel Defoe's Robinson Crusoe for my British literature class. And this is an outside reading kind of assignment where I have to read this book and do what is called a précis, where I research 5 different essays on Robinson Crusoe, and then write a paper about one of those essays. So it's very interesting, and it's a very interesting read because Robinson Crusoe is considered one of the very first novels. So it's very interesting. And then the next 2 are both from my Native American Literature course. The first is Sherman Alexie's The Absolutely True Diary of a Part-Time Indian, which I haven't begun. I've only read the first chapter, and from what I see, it's hilarious. It's more of a. It appears to be more of a young adult literature book, but I'm very excited to read this. And then the second book is called Green Grass, Running Water. And this is a particularly interesting book because it jumps around from a Native American folktale to a scene with the Lone Ranger, Robinson Crusoe, Hawkeye, and Ishmael from Moby Dick. And then all these different stories with these individual characters, which are fascinating, and they're all interconnected. It's brilliant, and I'm really enjoying this. So, I guess my question for you guys is if you had comments about Watchmen, tell them. If you want, but for a second question, I want to know, what was your first job? First part-time job, and mine was working at the local Dairy Queen, to which I have very fond memories of, mostly because I can still get free ice cream if I go there and the right people are working. So it's a pretty sweet deal. Yeah, I will talk to you guys later.